Hey guys, this morning I'm going to use a jelly plate and I'm going to use blues, whites, and grays and try to come up with like a sky, and then I'm going to put sailboats on it. So the thing about using acrylics is you can layer and then layer over it. So I'm going to start out with some kind of a bright blue. It's a little too much, so I'm going to take some of that off. Add a tiny bit of white in there. And then you use a brayer. And I'm going to roll it out. Like I said, this is just the first layer. And grab sheet of paper. And let's just see what we get. So we're just going to press this down. Rub it on really good. Like I said, we're going to do a bunch of different layers, and then we'll put the sailboats on in several different ways, and then we can always paint over top of that. So this is just a matter of layering until you're happy with what you get. Alright, so look at that. It looks like it already looks like sky and clouds, depending on how you turn it. Alright, I love that. We got some lines down here, so I think I'm going to turn it this way. I might leave that the sky, and now I'm going to put some darker gray down here for the water. So, let's see. Let's just take a tiny bit of black. And again, we're gonna, I've already got blue on the brayer, so it might mix some of that. And we're just gonna roll it out. Sometimes if it doesn't roll, I'll spritz it just a tiny bit to loosen it up. Now it'll roll. Try to get kind of a straight horizon there. Alright. I'm going to take this. I'm going to kind of put my fingers where the corners are and try to grab that gray, which would be the water. But like I said, we can, I'll probably put a lot of different layers on. Sometimes you start out with something fantastic and you end up totally obliterating it. But it's just fun to play. Sometimes they turn out. So let's see what we got here. Alright, as you can see now, it looks like water and sky. And some of that blue is peeking through too. So that's really cool. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer of white. Just a tiny bit of white. Well, doesn't want to open up. tiny bit of white. And spray it a little bit so it'll roll out. I'm going to cover the whole jelly plate, and this is just, I have no idea what exactly it's going to do. I might add back a little bit of that blue. And something else you can do, which is really cool, is you can sprinkle powder, which causes a whole different effect. Add some more of the blue, tiny bit of water. I have no idea what this is going to do, but it's fun. That's the thing about art. I just come over here and play and play. Sometimes it turns out. I'm going to turn it upside down this time. Just see what I get. It may just be a solid gray mess, but like I said, you don't know unless you try, and sometimes it turns out. The thing about, like I said, about acrylics is that you can keep layering. So, ooh, whoa, that is gorgeous. Look at the water now. Look at the sky. It's actually got some grays, some blues, and some whites. I love that. Wow. All right. Let's go ahead and put some boats on it. See what we get here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this jelly plate and lay that down. And I've got this small jelly plate, and I'm going to just I'm going to pour a little bit of white paint, get a flat brush, I guess that's my water line right there. We'll just play with putting a few boats on here. How big do I want them? Not too big, but I'm just gonna sort of make a sailboat shape here. And while I've got that one, I'm gonna do the reflection also. Sometimes these turn out really cool. Alright, I know the boat is about right there, and the middle's about right there, so I don't want it straight in the center. I'm just going to set it right here. Oh, that's pretty. Alright, very subtle. Let's do another one. So our made the water line about there, that's fine. Let's do another one over here. Not trying to be exact because it's gonna, no telling how it's gonna come off of this. It's very subtle. Okay, we'll put this bigger one. Let's see, that's where the center is, so I'm gonna do it right here. All right, we'll keep doing some of these. I'm gonna wipe the plate. This plate also has stuff on it from when I used it before. So if a little bit of that comes off, that's okay. Alright, I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna do a real skinny one. So I'm just giving the impression of a boat and a shadow. That one's a little thicker, so it may show up better. Okay, there's the center of it. I'll put it real close to this one. Oh yeah, it's pretty. You can always take the end of a brush and while it's still wet and kind of touch in. Like that. Let's put one over here. We'll do another one. Do it a little taller. It's just fun to play. Just see what you can come up with. Okay, there's the center of that one, so we'll put that one here. Pretty. I still got a little white on my brush, so I can make it even more of a make it a little. You just play with it. Kind of blot it until you like the shape or the Alright, it looks like 2 sailboats. I have 4 in there. I'm going to do one more. I'll do more of a cluster on this side, so we'll put another one. There's about a million ways you can do sailboats, but this is just one that I like. It's so random. You can kind of see the top there. I need to see, you can put them in with a brush, but the I think the jelly plate helps to make it look really random. Alright, there's one that's kind of peeking through, so they're not super noticeable, but you can see now where the water line is. So what we'll do, dry this really quick. Let me dry it over here. One thing I like to do is put in a straight horizon line on water. It seems to help it. I'm going to put a piece of tape down and press this so it doesn't move as I'm working on it. But I like all the variation in color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to take a Stabilo pencil, which is a water-soluble pencil, and figure out where I want my horizon line. I think it's right. I'll just put it right there. Okay, I'm just gonna okay, I'm just going to kind of wet it underneath and kind of bleed it out a little bit. And it doesn't need to be a solid line all the way across. You can break it up here and there. Touch it here and there. There, like that. Okay, now to make these boats stand out a little bit more, I think I'm going to take a little bit of that blue. Like I said, each thing that you do could really help it or really mess it up. But I think I'm going to take that blue and kind of go around the boat, make it a, you don't want it just like a triangle, but you want it more. And then I'm going to just bleed it out. And even though this is acrylic, you can press right here, kind of dot and dab. See here if I can, I like that shape. Put a little bit here and there. I think I'll take a little bit of the white and whitewash the blue that I put on. Just kind of touch and dab until I kind of like the effect. Okay, I like that. That one already has a lot of blue around it, so I think I'm just going to go on this side, put a little bit, not try to match it exactly, but just put a little bit, and then, ooh, I like that dark around down here, so I don't think I'll touch that. Might put a little bit up here, just to carve it out a little bit. Not much, I'm just barely touching here and there. Since that color is already up here, and what you can do is take a light mixture and carve out that horizon line a little bit here and there. Make that point a little. Lost my point, so I'm going to take a little bit thicker white and just try to barely touch. Bring my point back. Okay, I like that. Alright, those two show up better. Keep going. A little bit of blue. Let's see, I like that side. It shows it pretty good. I'm going to try to carve out that side better in this one. So I'm just kind of touching here and there to make this one a little smaller. Anything you put down here could be reflection stuff, so that probably needs a tiny bit of, I like this black down here, so I'm going to take a little bit of black, and I ended up with this sailboat shorter. I could always make it longer, but I think I'm going to just, and you don't want it too, I don't like it too exact. Let's look it better. You kind of get reflections here and there. Okay, I like that one. I already like the bottom of this one. I think I'll try to, I don't want to lose too much of this, but maybe just right in there. Yeah, I like that. That made that pop out a little bit more, and if I could make this just a little more pointed there, like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one's pretty cool. I like the big one there. Maybe, let's see. Maybe a little bit of this gray. Take off some of that, a little bit of that. Shadows, reflections. We can make this, we can put a little bit of white here and maybe give it a little more of a point. A little more of a point down here. It's kind of a big one. Ooh. Yeah, I like that better. Alright, I think that makes the sailboats stand out. And I like kind of like sailing at night, it looks like, so. We could lighten up the sky a little more. We could put some more blue right down on the horizon to carve that out a little more, but like I said, you run the risk of doing too much. I like it right now. And I'm going to get a little bit of white and blue and maybe just lighten right at the horizon just a little bit here and there. makes the horizon show up a little bit more right there, and we can do the same thing. I kind of like that. Like that. Maybe carve it out a little bit more right here. Yeah, like that. We've got some of this black down here. We could darken, touch a little bit in here and there. This is definitely the star of the show right here. It's kind of in the center of the painting, which it's not maybe the best design, but it's just where it ended up. Alright, I might put, I'm thinking it might need, because they're all kind of the same size. Let's put a small one, try to get a small one in right there. Okay, I'm going to or let's see, here's a small one. We could do a small one. They're spaced out evenly too, so we need kind of a small one. It'll look like it's in the background, I think. They say you can put it on with the plate or wax paper if you don't have. Let's see, I think I'm going to try to just do one right here. Do a small one right here. Kind of just wetting my brush and drying it, and then touching the edge to kind of reshape. Just maybe look like one, because of the size of it. That one's like way back in the background, and it's a little closer, and it's not as bright, so it recedes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I need one more sailboat. Where would be a good one? I like this one by itself over here, so I think I'm going to try do another different size, a little bigger than this one, but not as big as these. So I'll go with that size. And then there's my center. Oh yeah, I like that. Just watch it in a little bit more. I like the shape of it. Kind of gives me an idea. Like I said, it's a little bigger than that one, not as big as these. Gives me a different size, kind of a Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear, which is always a good design, and gives me these three a little closer. Yeah, I like that better. Just kind of I use the end of my brush to carve that back out, and then kind of touch these here and there. Alright, so that gives me 7 boats. That one's the brightest. This one's real pretty. I can pick up some more of this bright blue. Make this even more of a baby. Touch it here and there. Pointed. Alright, there's some different sizes in here, and I like the horizon line. I like the shadows. Kind of looks like night sailing. One thing you can do is take the gray and darken up. We can kind of darken up the horizon. Lighten that back down. That's not even part of the picture. Okay. So if we go in, kind of in between the boats, and just put a tiny bit of the gray to kind of carve out make that some shadow over there. Yeah, I like that better. Again, right in between the boats. Kind of bleed it out. It just the water would be darker far away, so you can feed it back and forth with some light to kind of bleed it down, add some lights. Touch it here and there. Carve that boat out a little bit more. I like this blue right in this section right here. Touch up in there to thin that line. Touch, touch, touch here and there.